Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that of the 64 items required for rendering devotional service, acceptance of the symbolic marks of sannyasa is a regulative principle. If one accepts the sannyasa order, his main business is to devote his life completely to the service of Mukunda, Krishna. If one does not completely devote his mind and body to the service of Lord, he does not actually become a sannyasi. It is not simply a matter of changing dress. In Bhagavad Gita 6.1, it is also stated, Anastri karma phalam karyam karma karoti ya, sa sannyasi cha yogi cha. One who works devotedly for the satisfaction of Krishna is a sannyasi. The dress is not sannyasa, but the attitude of service to Krishna is. The word Paratmanishtha, meaning being a devotee of Lord Krishna, Paratma, the Supreme Person, is Krishna, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. Those who are completely dedicated to the lotus feet of Krishna in service are actually sannyasis. As a matter of formality, the devotee accepts the sannyasa dress as previous acharyas did. He also accepts the three dandas. Later, Vishnu Swami considered that accepting the dress of a Tridandi was Paratmanishtha. Therefore, since devotee add another danda, the Jiva danda, to the three existing dandas, the Vaishnava sannyasi is known as a Tridandi sannyasi. The Mayavadi sannyasi accept only one danda, not understanding the purpose of Tridanda. Later, many persons in the community of Siva Swami gave up the Atmanishta, devotional service of the Lord, and followed the path of Shankaracharya. Instead of accepting 108 names, those in the Siva Swami Sampradaya follow the path of Shankaracharya and accept the 10 names of sannyasa. Although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted the then existing order of sannyasa, namely Ekadanda, he still recite a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam about the Tridanda sannyasa accepted by the Brahmana of Avantipura. Indirectly, he declared that within that Ekadanda, one danda, four dandas existed as one. Accepting Ekadanda sannyasa without Paratmanishtha, devotional service to Lord Krishna, is not acceptable to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In addition, according to the exact regulative principles, one should add the Jiva danda to the Tridanda. These four dandas, bound together as one, are symbolic of unalloyed devotional service to the Lord. Because the Ekadandi sannyasis of the Mayavada school are not devoted to the service of Krishna, they try to merge into Brahman effulgence, which is a marginal position between material and spiritual existence. They accept this impersonal position as liberation. Mayavadi sannyasis, not knowing that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a Tridandi, thinking of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as an Ekadandi sannyasi. This is due to their vivarta, bewilderment. In Srimad Bhagavatam, there is no such thing as Ekadandi sannyasi. Indeed, the Tridandi sannyasi is accepted as the symbolic representations of the sannyasa order. By citing this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted the sannyasa order recommended in Srimad Bhagavatam. The Mayavadi sannyasis, who are enamored of external energy of the Lord, cannot understand the mind of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. To date, all the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, following in his footsteps, accept the sannyasa order and keep the sacred thread and tuft of unshaved hair. The Ekadandi sannyasis of Mayavadi school give up the sacred thread to do not keep any tuft of hair. Therefore, they are unable to understand the purport of Tridanda sannyasa, and as such, they are not inclined to dedicate their lives to the service of Mukunda. They simply think of merging into existence of Brahman because of their disgust with the material existence. The acharyas who advocate the Daiva Varnashrama, the social order of Chaturvarnam mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, do not accept the proposition of Asura Varnashrama, which maintains that the social order of Varna is indicated by birth. The most intimate devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, namely Gadadhar Pandita, accepted the Tridanda sannyasa and also accepted Madhava Upadhyaya as his Tridandi sannyasa's disciple. It is said that from this Madhvacharya, the Sampradaya known in Western India as Vallabhacharya Sampradaya has begun. Srila Gopala Bhatta Goswami, Gopala Bhatta Vasu, who is known as the Smriti Acharya in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, later accepted the Tridanda Sannyasa order from Tridandi Pada Prabodhananda Saraswati. Although acceptance of Tridanda Sannyasa is not distinctly mentioned in the Gaudiya Vaishnava literature, the first verse of Srila Rupa Goswami Upadeshamrita advocates that one should accept the Tridanda Sannyasa order by controlling the 6 forces: Vacho Vegam, Manaso Krodha Vegam, Jivha Vegam, Udaro Pasta Vegam, Etan Vegam, Yo Vishayeta Dhira, Sarvam Apimam Prithvishwa Sishyat. One who can control the forces of speech, mind, anger, belly, tongue, and genitals is known as Goswami and is competent to accept disciples all over the world. The followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never accepted the Mayavada order of sannyasa, and for this they cannot be blamed. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted Sridhara Swami, who was a Tridandi sannyasi, but the Mayavadi sannyasis, not understanding Sridhara Swami, sometimes think that Sridhara Swami belonged to the Mayavada Ekadanda sannyasa community. Actually, this was not the case. Etam tastaya paratmanistam madhyasitam purvatmai maharshibhi aham tarishyami duranta param tamo mukunda grinishevayaiva. So, Hare Krishna to everyone. So I would like to invite everyone to Sunday Feast. Today, the topic is, it sounds like little advanced topic, but actually, it is actually relevant to all of us. One time, one of the great sage, Maharaj Khatvanga, he was a great pious king. He was, he was ruling the kingdom. And then one time, he was called out for a duty to help demigods, Devatas, because they were so much harassing by them. These demigods were harassing by demons. So then Maharaj Khatvanga went and then he fought against the demons. Then in due course of time, because of his piety, his good works, his competency, and he won over the demons. Then everything was over. Demigods were very much pleased with his with his work. So they offered him, okay, please ask some benediction. What can you give us? What kind of benediction you can take? Then Maharaj Khatvanga, even though he has everything, he basically doesn't want anything. He said, out of curiosity, he said, please tell me how much time I have left in this world. And Devatas looked at him and they said, you have only one moment left. One moment, then you are done. And Maharaj Khatvanga immediately came to consciousness. He meditated on the Lord. He meditated on Supreme Lord Krishna, and then he went back to home. And this is a story actually reminds us one thing. In this world, everything and anything is actually temporary. One should ask the question such a way, what is the purpose of life? What is the purpose of life? What happens to me after leaving my body? This is the perfect way of asking question instead of, really focusing on enjoyment in our life. And this is the very same question asked by Maharaj Parikshit to Sukadeva Goswami in Srimad Bhagavatam. He asked, even Maharaj Parikshit, before he was, doing anything, Sukadeva Goswami says, Maharaj Parikshit, your question is very glorious. What are these questions Maharaj Parikshit was asking? He started with simple questions like, what is the human, what is the duty of humans, what he can do, what he has to do, what he has to chant, all these basic questions like all of us has. And Sukadeva Goswami immediately replies, my dear king, your question is very glorious. And this question actually helped to the people in general. In general, this is such an amazing question. And then what happens in Kali Yuga? Kali Yuga, it says, if you have money and facilities, then philosophy or humility goes to vacation. And then the moment money and everything gone, and then, suddenly we get, artificial philosophy, artificial thoughts, This is my spiritual master says, Markata Vairagya, monkey renunciation. Monkey jumps and everywhere. Now, it seems like very renounced, but it is not renounced. So it is a monkey renunciation which naturally comes. But if you see in the description of Srimad Bhagavatam, in the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is clearly mentioned. Now, what happens if somebody practices Krishna consciousness sincerely? What happens to them? And it's clearly mentioned about the descriptions of Vaikuntha Loka. When Brahma, after even he himself meditating about Lord, when he came to this planet, and he was meditating seriously, and then he doesn't know what to do that, he heard two words, Om. He two syllable, he heard, and then he was started meditating on thousands of years. And because of his sincerity and submission, two things, and actually God, Lord pleased. And then he invited him to Vaikuntha planet, and the description is there. If anyone wants to know how the spiritual world looks like, and very much recommended to read Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto in 9th chapter. It is clearly mentioned. But what is our consciousness? We always in other way. And one time, when Dronacharya calls his disciples, you want to test them, how they are learning all this, this archery, all these teachings that he been teaching. And then he called everyone. Everyone was failed actually. And when he called about Arjuna, he asked him, my dear child, what you are looking at what you are looking at this bird, this tree. He said, no, I'm not looking at the tree. What you are looking? Are you looking at the bird? No, I'm not looking at the bird. Are you looking at the bird eye? No, I'm not looking at the bird eye. My dear child, what are you looking at? I'm looking at this black point in the eye of the bird. That is the focus Arjuna has. So it says, Srimad Bhagavatam says, we should have this kind of consciousness, this kind of focus to go back to Godhead, go back to Krishna. And interestingly, in this verse, Uddhava, in Uddhava Gita, this verse is spoken that we just recited. These Avantipura Brahmanas. In Uddhava Gita, in 11th canto, before Sri Krishna was leaving the planet, before he is winding up his leelas, he called out he called to Uddhava. And then, the Uddhava Gita took place. And then during this conversation, Uddhava asked amazing questions. And at one point, Krishna spoke, he actually spoke, interestingly, only one story. If you see in Bhagavatam is full of stories. But naturally, Krishna spoke only one story just to pacify Uddhava, because after leaving Krishna, what is his situation. Uddhava was very close associate of Krishna, and in his personal relatives. Also his consciousness and his knowledge is actually above sentiment, unlike the devotees of Vrindavan. Vrindavan devotees are mostly sentiments, more and that consciousness. But Uddhava consciousness is a little uplifted in. So Krishna wants us to use Uddhava as an instrument to teach this Uddhava Gita. And in Uddhava Gita, this Avantipura Brahmana story is so amazing. And interestingly, if you preach as in Krishna consciousness, we may preach to anyone and everyone. But interestingly, I understood, if we preach to our relatives, it's very easy process, they cannot escape. And then at the same time, we can catch up them anytime, whenever we see. And this is the one example we can see that. And at the same time, here Krishna wants to give the instructions how a gruhastha, how a person, like all of us, can practice Krishna consciousness. Example, a case of Uddhava. Uddhava was also a gruhastha. Oftentimes, Prabhupada says, interestingly, a person actually has to prepare at the age of 50 for spirituality, at least to start processing about the varnashrama. This is the basic thing. Oftentimes, Prabhupada says, 50 years is the standard age that, a man should start about thinking, renounced order, about thinking about vanaprastha. As the time passes, then he has to withdraw everything. But, so here, let us talk about the Avantipura Brahmana story. And Krishna began with this Avantipura Brahmana. This Brahmana was interestingly, because of his previous karma and his activities, he was not at all lazy. From, he born in a Brahmanical family. He started doing the business. And then because of his piety, his hard work, labor, little karma also from the previous life, he started, becoming rich and rich every time. And what is his consciousness? When he is earning money, naturally, he get attracted to save that, preserve that, instead of like spending. So nobody liked him. Even his own family members, wife, children, nobody actually, even his servants, nobody likes him because he was behaving like a krupana. Krupana is miser. Miser in the sense like, neither he doesn't spend on his own things or neither give to anyone, around him. So what happened over a period of time because of his piety over and because of the natural circumstances and slowly, his wealth becoming like, going down and down. And some of his wealth also was stolen by thieves. And some of the situations, like there was some time, there was not so much rain, he got so much loss in his business and they could not able to make enough money. So because of that, he lost basically everything over a period of time. And then, thinking about this as a situation, opportunity, the relatives and family members, took whatever he has left over and then they kicked him out from the house. And this Avantipura Brahmana started wandering, going everywhere and walking, villages to village and town to town, started contemplating why it happened to me. Why, I was a rich person, I was, everyone was there around me. I was controlling many people. Then by the mercy of Lord, as a Paramatma in his heart, Krishna revealed such a way that he became like a sannyasi. He started meditating. The idea of renunciation came within his heart. And he started saying, see, all these years, I spent my youth, I spent my energy, time, resources to earn the money, which is anyway is not used for me now. And that money caused so many problems. And he gives a very fine analysis. He said, this money, whatever we have, the possessions, money, even to earn, even to preserve, one has to go to 15 kind of difficulties. All kind of pride, anger, selfishness, and so forth. So many of these things is caused by this money. And because of that money, all my relatives, all my family members, all my even children, everyone was there around with me. The moment money was gone, nobody is there with me. Now what I have to do? Even for the sake of one single coin, they kick me out from the house. So now what I have to do is just to meditate on this one. So the same prayers that we sung, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he got initiated, when he took the sannyasa order in Katwa, he was started singing these same prayers again and again. And oftentimes this quotes as a Bhikshu Gita. So these prayers he was, completely, he was, after he getting a sannyasa order, he went to his spiritual master. And then he says, my dear master, what kind of mantra you gave me, this mantra, after, receiving this Hare Krishna mantra, I'm becoming mad. And then the spiritual master said, my dear child, you are so blessed. Please give me that madness also to me. So, and this Avantipura Brahmana, he came, he started traveling. He accepted sannyasa order with his Tridandi, sannyasa danda, and he's traveling everywhere. Even though he did not exhibit his external things, external looks to people in general, this philosophy, whatever he achieved. So people started thinking and blaspheming him. Hey, this person seems like a cheater. Now, whatever he has done all these years, he enjoyed. Once the money is gone, he was just showing to the people. This is artificial renunciation he is exhibiting. And people, started beating him, spit the urine, spit on his face, even though all this kind of thing, he never, shaken with his philosophy, whatever he achieved from this thing. And at the end, he started thinking that this karma I got is not because of my previous life karma, is not because of time, is not because of anyone else. It's completely because of my mind. It's amazing prayers actually. He says, not because of my previous karma. And interestingly, there is one story, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj oftentimes quotes this story. He says, one time there was a king. This king was very pious. So what happened, one time there was so much difficulties in his kingdom. And then he observed people are not happy. And someone told him, please invite all the Brahmanas in your kingdom and then feed them nicely. So by the blessings of Brahmanas, actually the kingdom will become flourished. And then king decided, okay. And then he called out all the Brahmanas and he prepared a wonderful feast for everyone. So when the time they are going to take the feast, there was a bird in the sky, eagle, vulture. The bird was holding the snake, dead snake. And accidentally, that bird dropped the snake and it just fell into the prasadam, whatever they prepared, and it became like a poison. Everything was poisoned. And the moment the Brahmanas ate the prasadam, and all of them died. And king got so much upset. He on top of that, whatever he has, he got something more karma. And he was thinking, oh my God, what I have done, I'm getting more karma. And someone else advised, please invite more Brahmanas to feed them. And then, then he again published, please, all the Brahmanas, please come and, bless me. And then, villagers, different village Brahmanas started going to feast. And on the way, when they are going, there was one lady said, she asked the Brahmanas, hey, where you are going? The Brahmana says, no, we are going to king because he is offering feast. And this old lady says, you don't know what happened? And they said, no, I don't know. We don't know what happened. This king doesn't like Brahmanas. And he invited all the Brahmanas and, he just poisoned them to kill. And these people got, shocked, scared to go death. And then they left. The king got disappointed anyway. Now the question comes, who will get this karma? Because there is a karma involved in this business. Either the king, because because of him, Brahmanas died earlier. Or the Brahmanas' previous karma, or the vulture, or the snake. Who get this karma? Can anyone guess who get this karma? And the same question came to Chitragupta, the assistant to the one of the Mahajan, Yamadharmaraj. And Yamadharmaraj gives a wonderful answer. Please.